Is it keeping you engrossed? Is it keeping you?
Yeah.
I think it's really well done. I can say that without having to worry about false modesty or anything, because, as I say, I wasn't involved in producing this film, only in performing in it. But this is the first time I've seen it, so I think it's kind of exciting. Okay, I'll answer, if I can, a couple of brief questions, and then we'll go on to the autographs. Yes? Robert Walker Jr. is still alive, and he was going to do the part. And then he got hurt. He broke his leg, and he suddenly, with like 3-4 days to go, he wasn't available. He wasn't terribly good about keeping us informed. We just sort of found out when we called to give him his time to be on the set. And in fact, we have another surprise later on with another actor, which I won't tell you, but he didn't even tell us that he wasn't even going to be in the country, another important actor from the original series. So we used somebody else for that role. But I don't think it really minimizes or decreases the effectiveness of it. I think it's just as strong. William Wellman Jr. is a well-known actor. I mean, he had his day.
And he looks nothing like.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, and he has a nice presence that projects that. His father, is the very famous William Wellman, the director. Won the Academy Award as a director for a movie called something with airplanes, flying airplanes. Oh, anyway, it's neither here nor there. Yeah.
When's the next episode?
Well, I thought it would have been done by now. There are, as I say, there are myriad problems that had to be contended with, all post-production, and availability of people who are working for either nothing or next to nothing, and having to take other jobs that pay them, problems with the modern computer and the adaptation of what we had done to. It's more than I can explain, because I don't quite understand it. But it wasn't for lack of conscientiousness or trying, just that elements conspired against us. So to answer that question,
it's in the works.
It's in the works. I would think by June. Are the
first parts available for purchase now, or?
It's not for purchase. This is for free.
Really?
Yeah, and you can download it at renegade-studios.com. We were not allowed. The contract under which we worked dictated that we were not allowed to charge or make any money from anything to do with Star Trek. The studio and CBS, who now runs the television Star Trek department, would only give us permission if there was no profits involved. But there's been talk on and off about incorporating this and To Serve All My Days and the one that George did into cassettes that would be distributed through Paramount. But as far as I know, that still remains just talk.
So is there a way for people to donate to help out?
No, you can't, it's like donating to Paramount, And who would ever want to do that? Yeah. However, the other film, Inalienable, is an independent production, the one we're going to see later today. And that is for profit. God knows, we'll never see one. Considerably more money was spent on Inalienable. Still low budget, but more money. And that we're trying to find distribution for. But problem is, you folks turned out, and I'm appreciative. I felt like, that in fact, some arms were twisted to get you here. And yet, I'm sure that you enjoyed it. And at least I'm assuming that you enjoyed it. Inalienable has its own virtues. It's not Star Trek, but it has its own virtues. And I think once you sit through it and watch it, you will agree. And yet we just can't get the word out. That's the problem. we're not reaching the audience that we would hope to. We have, do these names sound familiar? Richard Hatch, Marina Sirtis, Eric Avari, Gary Graham, Walter Koenig, yeah, all actors with substantial science fiction backgrounds. So we thought that, and we didn't compromise in talent when we picked these actors. They're all wonderful. They're wonderful. Richard Hatch is going to blow your mind. Marina Sirtis is incredibly strong. Just absolutely. I called her, and after watching it, and I told her how brilliant she was. It goes on and on and on. There really isn't a bad performance in the lot. If you'll just ignore the first 15 seconds of the picture, there's not a bad performance in the lot, aside from the first 15 seconds. Anyway, but getting the folks, we've had about I think about, what was the number? Maybe 1,000 downloads on Inalienable at $2.95 a piece. That's not a lot. And that's not getting the word out. We have to find a way to promote the picture. That's one of the reasons why we're showing it at this convention. We're hoping, I don't want to go on and on, but we're hoping that between the showing that we're having this afternoon and the one we're having tonight, will generate some enthusiasm, and you guys can say, hey, you should look into this, check it out on your internet, talk about it, and maybe it'll help us generate enough momentum to get a deal, at least a DVD deal. It's a damn sight better than a lot of pictures that make it to DVD, and that's not a backhanded compliment. I think there's a lot of virtue in it. It's not 100% perfect by any means, but there's a lot of virtue in it. Okay, that's it for now. Talk to you again later. I'm going to be signing autographs, I think. So anybody who has nothing else to do, come by and say hello. Thank you. By the way, just tell me, how much, I have no vested interest in this. I wouldn't ask you this about Inalienable because I have more of a vested interest and it might be embarrassing. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how does this picture rate for you? That man says 10. Yeah. 10. 8. 8's good. I'll go 8. Okay. Anybody for 9? Anybody for 9? Okay. Thank you.